Hello guys, and welcome back to another brand new video today on the channel. Today's video is the Q&A that I put up on Instagram about 3 or 4 weeks ago with all the questions, or most of the questions that I was asked. Some of the questions are not postable. So all the questions that I was asked on the Q&A, give us best possible insight to those as I can. Going to be honest, this is not pre-recorded. All the answers I'll give just off the top of my head, giving the best possible answer. So I hope you learned something new, maybe about MBGKA, about my future plans, or about other things that I've been asked that are related to goalkeeping in the questions that are given. So without further ado, I hope you enjoy it, I hope you learned something, and let's get into the Q&A. All right, thanks Brad for that question. What made me start my business? What a question. Let's take it back 10 years. I'll try and give a brief answer and be as quick as I can. So one of the main reasons as to why I ran MBGKA, which I started in 2010, it was the end of 2010 in December, is I love goalkeeping. I was a goalkeeper for many, many years, and I love coaching. And one of the big things was what kind of job do I want to do long term that I'm going to be able to get up in the morning, love, enjoy, give everything, be passionate about. It's goalkeeper coaching. So I married the two, goalkeeping and coaching, goalkeeper coaching. And another big thing for me is I like to be in control, and I'm very passionate about doing my own thing and working for myself. So that was another big drive to really kick on MBGKA. So that is why I started the business. I love goalkeeping, I love coaching, married the two together to goalkeeper coach. And I like to be in control, and I'm very self-driven. But I find it very easy to motivate myself, to push myself, to really drive forward a business. So over the first couple of years, I found it quite easy to really push it, even though obviously beginning a business is tough. So yeah, that's how it ended up being. That's how I ended up doing MBGK and starting that off. Wow, this is a tough question, so I've got to rack my brains now. So the longest serving goalkeeper that I've got currently working with MBGKA is Henry Cornbill, a lad called Henry. He's been with me since February 2011. He was on the very first half-term goalkeeper course. Some achievement, by the way, in 2021 now. So he's pushing 10 years with me, still trains me now. Off the top of my head, if I'm thinking really quick, the next couple of keepers, and the reason why one of the lads has asked this is because he knows he's one of them, is a lad called, firstly, is Lucas Hanley. He's been with me since about April, May 2011, so he's a long-term keeper. And then the other one is Ethan Rogers, Bob, also nicknamed, has been with me, I think, pushing 9 years as well. And another one of the lads who's been with me a long time is a guy called Dylan, Dylan Bonfield, once again, going under 18, into second year under 18 now. He started with me, again, very early doors, and he was with me at a summer sports camp as well that I used to work at before I did MBGKA. I used to work at a summer sports adventure camp. And he was with me there before he started MBGKA, so he must have been about 6 years old. So very, very young. There are others who've been me pushing 8 years now. By the way, great achievement from these guys. They sort of started with me when they were between 6, 7 and 8 years old, and they're still with me now, 16, 17, 18. So well done lads, love the commitment. So this is a really difficult question because obviously having coached for 10 years and working at MBGKA and working with hundreds and hundreds of goalkeepers, you'd probably think that I'd pick someone that I work with, but in order to be no favouritism, etc., what I'm going to say is it was the period of time that I worked at Charlton Athletic. It would be when I worked with the first team. So I had the opportunity, as a lot of you know, to work with Nick Pope, who's now obviously Burnley #1 and is England. And then you've got Dylan Phillips, who plays for Cardiff now. I worked with Stephen Henderson, who's now at Crystal Palace, but was also the #1 at Charlton at the time, and with Dimitar Mitov, who's now the #1 at Cambridge United. So working with these 4 goalkeepers, I don't want to pick one of the 4. I think most people would probably assume it'd be Nick Pope because of where he is now and his stature. But it was that period working with those 4 goalkeepers because for me it was something unknown, being 25 years old, working within the Charlton Athletic first team in the Championship. As you can imagine, it was a very crazy situation to find myself in, but an unbelievable learning experience, and an opportunity to work with these 4 keepers was fantastic. So I'm going to say those 4 and that particular period of time because naturally it was a big stepping stone in my career as a goalkeeper coach. Favourite goalkeeper of all time? What a question. This is a really tough one because I could go back in time to when I was really young and a couple of people I looked up to. My hero was Ian Walker for Tottenham Hotspur as a Tottenham fan. But then at that period of time also, my favourite goalkeeper in terms of what they did on the pitch was Peter Schmeichel. So in theory, I could say him. But then if we're going to take a more modern approach in terms of a goalkeeper that maybe some younger keepers in the modern day would know, it would be Manuel Neuer. Just because of the style of play he did. It kind of, I would say my game, the way I played also was a little bit led onto that as well. I quite like to play that sweeping style and be quite aggressive on the front foot. So Manuel Neuer, but if not, Peter Schmeichel. This is another incredible question, very difficult because over 10 years there's been so many vast experiences and situations that have occurred for MBGKA that have been milestones, that have been hit, you know, big moments for me that have been fantastic to have and experience. So to pick one, I'm gonna go with quite an obvious one actually, and for me it would be the beginning, the very beginning. When I spent a lot of time over 2 or 3 months promoting it at the beginning. So I spent a lot of time promoting it, going around to different schools, delivering lots of leaflets, different places, advertising, because obviously 10, 11 years ago, social media wasn't as big, so you had to actually physically put the groundwork in. So one of the best moments for me, if not the best moment, was when I got bookings for the half-term course in February 2011. And my phone was going with phone calls from parents across different areas of Ashford and Kent, booking their kids onto this very first goalkeeping course that I was running in Ashford. I think I got 10 or 11 keepers on it, and one of them was Henry, who's still with me. That moment, it was that moment where I knew that it could work, and it felt like this could work, and I could be a goalkeeper coach and do this for my job. Yeah, that was a real big moment, like a revelation for me, and it spurred me on to do or to get to where we are now. Okay, not making the questions easy. Another incredibly difficult question to answer because there's so many variables that can come into the answer on this. At its face value right now, if I was going to answer it on where I am now, I'd say MBGKA will be in existence in 10 years' time. I don't see how it wouldn't be because I love it. It's my passion. It's everything I've put into over 10 years. But you just never know. You never know what may come up and what's potentially down the line. I've got a couple other questions I'm going to answer in a minute that are related to similar ideas on this. But in terms of where I would be in 10 years, obviously in terms of knowledge and development, yes, a better coach than I am now, without a doubt. I think that would be pretty self-explanatory, I hope. But at the minute, I would say I'd still be doing MBGKA. You just don't know. So this is a great question because this is obviously something I toy with regularly as a professional goalkeeper coach, being UEFA qualified, etc. Obviously, since I left Charlton Athletic, I've now spent 4.5 years plus solely running MBGKA as my main job. Whereas before I was the Charlton Athletic Academy goalkeeping coach alongside doing MBGKA. A lot of work, by the way, 7 days a week for 2 years. But in order to get to where you want to be to in life, sometimes you have to put the effort in, and it requires groundwork, as we said earlier, and things are not given on a plate. So although very tough, incredibly worthwhile and satisfactory at the end of it. In terms of would I work in professional football again, the answer is yes, without a doubt. I have had offers. I've had about 4 offers since I left Charlton down the line at different periods, some that were slightly stronger than others. In terms of being back involved within the professional game in some capacity, mainly academy football. The opportunities weren't quite right for me in terms of giving up quite a big chunk of MBGKA to do that. But in terms of what I would do in terms of an offer, a lot of it comes down to how I would feel in terms of either stopping MBGKA or balancing that with an academy role. Right now, personally, MBGKA is everything for me and I love it. And an offer to go back into professional football would have to be linked with me being able to carry on doing this. So down the line, yes, I would consider it, but it would be all about the opportunity and what it involves, what it entails, where it is, etc. But yeah, never say never. Another good question, which is linked just into the question I've just answered. Again, the answer is yes. I'd never say never to anything. If I took MBGKA out of the equation, without a doubt, the answer would be yes. It'd be amazing to experience something new, do something different, be involved in a professional club in another country. For instance, somewhere like Germany really interests me. Working in Germany within maybe an academy structure within the Bundesliga would be amazing. But obviously everything comes back to what I do now with my business. So every decision I make, everything I do in terms of offers that I'm given, it does come down to if I feel it's of value and stronger than what I'm currently doing. So yeah, of course, 100% of interest, but it's all situational dependent. I think one of the things as well with some of these questions that I've been asked about what I would do or what would I be interested in doing if I wasn't doing MBGKA, a lot of it comes down to how you feel as a coach. And obviously I've been doing this quite a long time now. I've got a degree in coaching as well. Obviously I'm 31 now. I started coaching properly at about 15, 16. And then obviously moved into my own business as well. And I do feel that in terms of outside of my business, I feel I'm more than ready again to be coaching within that environment. Obviously I did it at Charlton from 24 to 25, 26, working in an academy setup, working in first team, 21s, 23s, etc. And we created international goalkeepers. So I feel I'm more than capable of doing it. But like I said, it does come down to the way I feel about a certain opportunity and being able to either balance it with MBGKA long term or, you know, wherever the path may take me down the line. For instance, there's no saying that I'd do MBGKA for another 5 years and then want to change direction. I just don't know right now. But what I do know is that I love what I do and I love doing my own business. And any offer that came down the line would probably at the minute have to coincide with that. This is a fantastic question, and it's one that has multiple answers without a doubt, and I'm sure coaches across the country would give different answers to this. Obviously I'll go over a couple of basics really quickly. So for youngsters, one of the most important things obviously is your technical ability, you know, to play at a very high level. For instance, if you were an under 11, under 12 player and you wanted to play at Manchester United, yes, you're gonna have to be very, very good technically. You have to be a good player. But there's so much more beneath this, and a couple of things I think are really, really important. So I'm gonna come to them now for you. So the biggest thing as a coach, I think there's two things off the top of my head which I'm just gonna say immediately. The first one is a very generic one, which you hear is being coachable. Now, for me as a coach, being coachable means if I'm working with a player, they have the right appetite and show the right personality in terms of taking feedback and working with me to become a better player. You know, they don't take offence to maybe advice or information that may help them become better. Being coachable is huge. You know, being a learner, wanting to be a learner and wanting to be better. This is massive, and it's a really big thing for a player to be on the right path. I'll use a player as an example of someone who I rate very highly in terms of this. It's one of my lads who was at Charlton. He also worked with me a bit at MBGKA before he went to Charlton, is Harry Whitlin. So I'm sure if he sees his video, I hope he appreciates the comment. Harry, who also, like I said, worked with me at MBGKA, which is why I'm using him as an example, because he did end up going to Charlton and he's in the scholarship years now, is a great example of a learner and a coachable person. Harry's a very, very good goalkeeper, but he was never ever above where he thought he was. He's always looking for the next bit of information that could make him a better player. Never above information, never above help, which is exactly what you're looking for, because ultimately even the best players in the world, such as someone like Cristiano Ronaldo, openly admits regularly that he wants to be better than what he is. And a lot of people would say, how can you get much better? But you can, because nothing is perfect. What is perfect? Perfect is what you perceive perfect to be. So if Ronaldo thinks he can be better, we all can be better. And then the second thing for young players to have an early understanding of is goalkeeping psychology, and in particular dealing with setback and not allowing mistakes to get the best of you. This is such a massive part of goalkeeping, and we worked on this relentlessly at Charlton with our goalkeepers. You have to try and turn mistakes and failure into a good thing. And I know that sounds a bit strange, but the only way you're really going to grow in terms of improving your performance, taking yourself out of your comfort zone, taking risk, is by accepting that failure and mistakes may happen. And that's the only way that you can end up being on an upward trajectory to where you maybe want to go. So using mistakes and errors as learning experiences and to use them to your advantage to be a better player. What can you do to improve on that aspect to make you an even better player than what you were? Yeah, absolutely crucial. Some players, as you can imagine, this is where they struggle, because they cannot get over the fact they've made a mistake and they see it as a negative, and it completely drops their performance. Can't overcome from it, can't push it back in their mind, even in training. So absolutely crucial that you use setback as an advantage to improve. great question. I support Spurs, so naturally my answer will probably be Tottenham. It helps they've got an amazing training ground. I have actually been there with Charlton. It's incredible, beautiful place to work and to play football. So yeah, I think it would be Tottenham Hotspur. Buffon or Schmeichel? What a question. Two very different keepers, actually. I think if you give one answer, you sort of take into account that, you know, maybe that's the kind of keeper that you were or that you like, because I do think they're quite different in their styles. I would have Schmeichel as quite a robust, loud, aggressive goalkeeper, whereas Buffon strikes me as someone who's a lot calmer, maybe a little bit more methodical. I may be wrong. Is it wrong to say I don't know? I don't know. I love Buffon and I love Schmeichel, and Schmeichel was one of my favourite keepers, as I said earlier, in my youth, but there's no doubting that I thought Buffon was fantastic. The answer is Schmeichel and Buffon. And finally, a good question from Kane in terms of USA scholarship programs. 100% it's worth it. I did it myself and went out when I was at university, albeit I didn't stay for the entire time because the course wasn't in fact for me really, so I came back and finished my degree in Leeds. However, the actual setup and everything that's done for the USA Scholarship Programme is 100% well worth it. Of course, if you can afford it, in terms of the price points and everything you get in terms of the scholarship offer you're given, that's completely down to what the university who's interested in you comes back with. You may need to make sure that you have money to be able to pay to go, because I think sometimes there's a misconception that it's free. Which it isn't. There is money that needs to be paid to go. So outside of that, it's 100% worth looking into if you're looking for something different, to maybe be and feel like a professional footballer whilst doing your studies. Then America's for you. And obviously you just need to be open to being able to potentially go to somewhere in America that you maybe didn't set out to go to. A lot of people think, oh, if I go to the States, I'm going to go to Florida. It doesn't quite work like that. You go where the offers are. You may have an offer from Idaho, Ohio, North Dakota, and that's where you could pick from. So keep an open mind, but 100% worth looking at if you're a young player and you're thinking about something a little bit different for your education. All right, guys, thank you very much for sticking with me and watching this Q&A. I hope you found it of interest. I hope you learned something a little bit new about maybe the past that I've had, some of the interests I have, some of the things I want to do in the future, or maybe don't want to do in the future, all sorts of stuff. I really hope it was quite insightful. Thank you everyone who asked the questions. I really appreciate it. There was quite a few other questions as well, but they were the key ones I thought might be of interest, particularly for a lot of younger goalkeepers and maybe even for goalkeeper coaches. So yeah, thanks so much for asking the questions. I hope they brought you some insight and I hope you got the answers that you maybe were looking for. Yeah, once again, thank you for watching today's video. I really appreciate it. Keep supporting the channel and I'll see you all next time on the next video.